if you got a great idea for a retail business, but you suck at people skills, cool. Be the man, be the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain. And that's the biggest thing, is having an honest audit. And you get into these entrepreneurship groups, these classes, and some people want to be that guy, but just aren't that guy. And there's nothing wrong with that.
How can you help us, though, continue to help you? First, please subscribe to the channel. Like us. If you listen to the audio version, leave us a 5-star review wherever you can. If you see our posts, please share those posts, share the content, and link back to our law firm website, which helps us to continue our SEO marketing and grow our firm and help small business owners. All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. I'm Mitch Beinhacker, your host. We have a really cool show today with Tim. He's going to talk about his brand. He's out in Omaha, and he makes a cool popcorn brand. So we're going to talk about that. And if you are listening on your favorite directory, leave us a 5-star review whenever you can. We're trying to build up the YouTube channel. So if you can go over to the YouTube channel, watch the video, watch us talking, subscribe, like us, follow that the show, so we can keep connecting with cool people like Tim and so forth. I always remind everybody that this podcast, the things we talk about, entertainment purposes only. It's not a guarantee of success. Don't take advice from Tim. Don't take advice from me. Always check with local professionals before making decisions. So having said that, Tim, thanks for coming on the show with me. I guess you're in Omaha, so it's 10:30 here. What is it, 8:30 there?
9:30.
Oh, only an hour behind. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, and the weather's terrible here. We had the hurricane come through, so I guess you guys have had decent weather.
Well, as decent as it can be in the Midwest. Just give it eight seconds. It'll shift 40 degrees. So, yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so why don't we, go back and talk about your background and how you got into business, maybe some of the early stuff you do, because I know you're a serial entrepreneur like all these guys that come on the show, and then we can talk about the brand and how you've been building that, and a little bit about protein, right? You had talked off the camera.
Yeah, I started nutrition back in the 90s, early 2000s, worked at GNC, got to work underneath one of the top franchisees for GNC in the United States at the time. It was a great experience. And, then I went and got a job in the corporate world and despised it, but I made a lot of money. So, I came back to nutrition in 2010. Was just young enough and dumb enough to go ahead and, go for broke and do the thing. And, started my first nutrition store here in Omaha, Nebraska. Rexius
retail store like GNC was a retail store?
Yeah. I didn't like the direction.
It was a standalone. It wasn't a franchise, right?
No, a standalone. It was on my own brand called Rexius Nutrition, named after me. And I just didn't like where the over corporatization of the health and wellness industry was going at the time. And everyone said I was nuts. And then one store turned into 2, turned into 3, turned into me franchising. And then I met my wife, and then we went from 1 state to 5 states operation in about 24 months. And now currently operating franchises in 7 states here in the United States.
Okay.
And that kind of led into a whole litany of different businesses, including VHI Nutraceuticals. Started making my own vitamin lines and currently selling those across the U.S., some in the Middle East and some in Australia. So
you're selling them online and also in the stores? In the
stores and then to other wholesale distributors in other countries. And then I started my first gym with my wife and my business partners in 2017 called Iron Heaven Gyms.
Okay.
I got kicked out. Let's put it well, long story short, I got kicked out of the big Globo gym. We'll call them that. I'm not giving them any press. Right. In 2017, my last bodybuilding show before I retired, I won the LA Open when I was 37.
Nice.
But 2 weeks before that show, they kicked me out of the Globo gym, basically said I was intimidating other guests. What? And I'm like, I talk more than I lift. I mean, I do. I'm a salesman. And it was more or less
why you're so successful.
I'm the king of supplements. They wanted to sell supplements in the gym. They kicked me out. So 2 weeks later, I signed a lease on a 7,000 square foot bay for Iron Heaven Gyms, and it just exploded. And this original location now is 33,000 square feet. We have 2 other locations, and we're building them about as fast as we can go.
Now, did you do that out of spite because they threw you out of the gym, or was it like
100% spite? 100% spite. My wife always wanted to own a gym. My business partner always wanted a gym. I did it because I was pissed.
Right.
And other people kind of thought ideally with what we were thinking, and our kind of mode and our model. Definitely different. 24-hour access, real iron weights. There isn't a rubber weight in the joint. Dumbbells go up to 200 pounds. If you want to do something crazy, you can. We have a Volkswagen in this gym you can deadlift if you're so into it.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Well, twofold. One, I have this Volkswagen that my daughters blew up beyond repair and have been sitting in my Rexius parking lot for a year, and I'm still pretty upset about it. And then one of the guys who was on World's Strongest Man trains at our gym. I bought all of his strongman equipment, including his car deadlift. And then I basically found a way to write off my car that was blown up. So it was twofold. It was great for my taxes, and it's cool in the gym. So, yeah, and it was like, do you lift that? I go, no, I'm way too old. I have way too much gray hair to even attempt that. But it's cool if you want to try it, right? And then right around the same time, 2018, my wife and I started goofing around in the kitchen, working on a protein popcorn. Now, that came out of three reasons. One, I've coached a lot of professional athletes when it comes to nutrition and diet plans.
Okay.
And they would go so far off the rails when they would cheat on their diet. And I think a lot of people out there will know this. Like, well, I've already screwed up. So,
so you just fall off the wagon.
I'm just going to have a free weekend and I'll start back on Monday. But these guys would gain 20 pounds in 3 days. Like literally, and it would take me 3 weeks to get them back. And so I'm like, we got to make a snack that meets the macro efficient nutrients that we need, but that they don't know it's healthy. And so 600 batches, actually I have a bag here. The first flavor ever was caramel corn.
I love that one. That's good.
Oh, it's the best.
Yeah.
And then we're like, hey, this is, the first 600 batches were not good. They were terrible, actually.
Taste-wise?
Taste-wise, texture. My wife forgot to take the seeds out of one batch. I cracked a tooth. And so the whole joke is I bled for this company.
Nice.
And the other groups are my kids. I have 6 children. And the younger ones, it's like negotiating with the terrorists. You can't get them to eat protein that doesn't come in the form of a chicken nugget or chocolate milk.
Right.
And then my parents, the silver sneakers, the 70-plus crowd. Once they retire, it's like they're in a fraternity. All they do is drink and golf, and more power to them. Hey, my parents are
say, it's not a terrible fraternity.
No, it sounds great, right? But they're also muscle wasting at that age.
Their body and their bones are,
And they're not going to drink the shakes. They're not going to eat the bars, and they never do. And so here's these 3 groups, where I'm like, okay, this is a snack. So we knew in our family that if I'm the witch doctor, right? I'm the one who's in the health and fitness. My brothers are doctors, everyone's an attorney, and then there's me, as my mom likes to say.
You're the black sheep of the family.
I am the loudmouth black sheep of the family, and so we'll put it out at family holiday at Christmas, right? We'll put it in bowls. We won't tell anybody, and they're just killing it.
This is like a test.
This is a test, an honest test, because I don't tell
a blind test. You didn't tell them.
No, and that's the best way. And all of a sudden, they're all killing it. This caramel corn's so good, and it was my little brother, the attorney. He's on my board of directors, so my best friends on the planet. It was nice having a brother as an attorney, unless you got to ask him when he calls you if he's charging you by the quarter hour as your attorney or as your brother. But
that's fine.
Anyways, he goes, "Oh God, this is healthy, isn't it?" And I said, "Yeah, but you didn't know." And then, I have this luxury of having 3 daughters, and daughters have a special way with your dad as an entrepreneur of never agreeing with you. So they kept bringing home these gigantic bags of Smart Pop white cheddar, I think just to upset me. And so I spent 6 months developing a white cheddar, nacho cheddar, and a spicy cheddar, and using this one had to be different. I had to add fat, so I added organic coconut oil. And then I knew that if I told them it was mine, same thing, I wouldn't get an honest response. So I took a gigantic bag of Smart Pop white cheddar, emptied it, filled it with mine, resealed it with her hair straightener, and left it on the counter. And then had
what happens.
Yeah, I had a candid camera moment, and they destroyed the bags. And it was the best thing when I got to tell them it was mine. And so the funny thing is the top 2 flavors in the 14 countries we were in, white cheddar and caramel corn, the first 2 that we ever invented. So yeah, and then we spent 5 years, I should say I spent 5 years marketing it wrong. Terribly wrong. Lost.
What did you do? What did you try to do that didn't work?
I lost $500,000 in 5 years.
Okay.
Wrong bags with the wrong name, wrong everything. And we went to the Mr. Olympia convention originally, bodybuilding mecca. That's my space. We killed it. I looked at my wife at the time. I'm like, we're going to get so rich. And that didn't happen.
That's the death knell, if you say that.
Bro, bodybuilders are broke. None of them have any money.
There you go. Perfect.
And then, it was me constantly, and I have some popularity online, so I was able to get a lot of nutrition stores and gyms to sell it, and the meatheads would like it. But that was pretty much it. And it wasn't until I became the president of the Chamber of Commerce here in one of our suburbs, and don't even ask me how I got voluntold into that position. Oh yeah, I won't do it again.
Yeah, you scratch your nose, and they're like, "Oh, you're going to be the president." Tim.
Yeah, I didn't realize this was 3 years of indentured servitude, but it was Hy-Vee Foods, is a grocery chain here in the Midwest. We're about to relaunch all 400 of them. Great relationship with these guys. What a great company. And anyways, one of the guys that works at one of the local Hy-Vee grocery stores was like, hey, I think we could sell that popcorn. Let me put it in the grocery store. And my friend, I told him, I believe it, I'd already lost so much. I was like, you know what? I don't think it's going to work. He goes, oh, come on, let me try. I'm like, well, let's do a consignment deal. That way I don't have to return any money to you when it doesn't sell. That's the kind of where I was at. I knew the product was awesome, but I just couldn't get it from here to there.
So you gave them the product, and then as they sold it, they would pay you.
Yeah. They outsold all my Rexius stores combined times 10 in 1 month.
Well, why?
Well, that was the thing, right? So I knew if I went down there all big and meatheady, that I wasn't, people were going to look at me weird. So I sent my daughter down to kind of spy. And she comes back, she goes, little kids and old ladies are buying that popcorn like it's their job. I'm like, really? So I went down there and talked to the dietitian at Hy-Vee, and I go, it's the only snack they can get the kids and the elderly to actually eat. Usually what they would do is they make a diet plan for the elderly and include like Ensure protein shakes or something like that, right?
Right.
And some of them drink them, some of them don't. They even will drive down to the next Hy-Vee down the road and return them half the time. But she goes, they're buying 6, 7, 8 bags, and now researching it, popcorn is the number one confectionery snack item in the world in every country. I didn't know this at the time, but and so then I went into 10 Hy-Vees around the area, and all same exact process. They're just killing it. And Hy-Vee corporate was like, hey, if you really want to make a go of this, you should go to sweets and snacks conventions. And I go, there's a snacks convention?
There's a convention for everything.
Oh, brother, we're missing out. This is like, so I go to the McCormick Center, Chicago, brand new banner, backdrop. It was an old name. We called it Optimal Performance Popcorn because I originally made the macronutrients for athletes. And at the time, I was just thinking of the science of it. How much protein can I cram in the biggest bag I can possibly make? Because when I was bodybuilding off season, I'm 320 pounds, so like I literally could eat 91 grams of protein, but I was just thinking about me. No, but I wasn't thinking about a consumer. I was thinking about like being my, something for me. And maybe was I a staff of 4, we had 10,000 samples. There's 200,000 qualified buyers. There's 1,500 vendors. It's a massive show. We're on Startup Street where all the new companies are. And I'm like excited. And the first day, not a single person came by my booth.
Right.
And I was pissed.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, then my wife goes, what are we going to do? I'm like, we're going drinking. That's what we're doing. I'm upset. And my wife, in all of her brilliance, kind of stands back and she goes, you realize it doesn't say healthy or protein anywhere in our label or our backdrop. I go, oh my God, it doesn't. I was so stuck in my own zone of everything I do is healthy because it's nutrition stores and gyms. I didn't really think about general consumer. And so here it is, 10 o'clock at night in Chicago. We find a Staples that's 24 hours, get them to make us a banner that says protein popcorn. Safety pinned on top of our brand new backdrop I just had made. We had a line of 300 to 400 people for 2 straight days.
Yeah, see,
it was nuts.
And you figured it out. But, that's why people have to test their, don't take it for granted that you know what it is, right? Just because that's the world that you walk in. Yeah. Grandma's not going to buy, optimal performance protein, nor the mom's going to buy for their kids.
No. And it was my wife, it was crazy. The last day, a gentleman who worked at Hershey's, actually, Hershey's had like this 60-foot
chocolate, like that company?
Yeah. They had like a 60-foot tall chocolate fountain, brother. I wanted to jump in and get type 3 diabetes. So I was like, this is awesome. But this guy walks over, he goes, hey, I'm going to give you 5 minutes of free advice. And I said, well, why is that? And he goes, well, everyone who works at my booth is eating your popcorn at my booth, and that's a problem. I said, okay. He goes, are you easily offended? I said, no, I have 6 kids.
Right.
He said, no. He goes, okay,
let me have it. Right.
He goes, your bag is ugly. The name is ugly. The color scheme sucks. You need a mascot. The only good thing about your product's how it tastes. I go, all right. And so I took that to heart. Like I don't get offended.
Guy obviously knows what he's doing. He's with
And so then on the flight home, it was my wife, and I outkicked my coverage by a long ways, brother. My wife is way smarter than I am.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
Oh, that's the goal, right? And she goes, you realize you haven't gone grocery shopping in 10 years, right? I go, what? She goes, we won't let you go. You buy the cheapest stuff. You buy it by the pallet, and nobody will eat it, the off-brand anything. Right. And She goes, even any clothes you wear that are new, I buy them. I go, that's absolutely true. She goes, well, why are we marketing it to you? You don't shop.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
So my daughters and my wife got together and throughout of the rest of 2022, redesigned the bags, rebranded it to the Omaha Protein Popcorn Company. They did you can see it in the camera there. There's Popcorn Man, little mascot.
Yeah.
And redid the whole thing, went to a more uniform size that made more sense, getting between 32 to 40 grams of protein in a bag. It's and I made it high grade.
Which is a lot. That's a lot of protein.
It is. And the thing is, most protein snacks in the United States use them lowest grade, bottom barrel ingredients. Like most of those protein snacks you buy here in the States will never repair a single ounce of muscle tissue. They'll take 3 hours to digest. And you only have about 45 minutes when you're done working out to get amino nitrates to your muscle tissue. So the protein of my popcorn, 6 minutes. That's why it's so easy on the
high
system.
Quality protein.
It's the highest grade in the world. And this is why the elderly or people with certain, metabolic issues or children can eat it just fine. Pregnant nursing moms that we got recommended by a few OBGYN centers for nursing moms or women with gestational diabetes. And that's a whole new stream of us selling to hospitals and nursing homes. But anyways, we rebranded it and launched in 2023 and we're up 16,000%. Gone into 14 countries before we ever even ran an ad. We've only been running ads now for about 90 days, and it's just through the roof with what we're doing, and it's been fun. But I let them design the color scheme or the term that my daughter used, aesthetically pleasing.
It is aesthetically pleasing.
No, yeah, it is. And that's the thing. It's like identifying that women make 80% of buying decisions for the household. Why am I marketing it to guys like me? When I should be marketing it to gals like my wife or my daughters.
If you want to sell it, right?
Yeah, if you want to sell it. And just judging by the amount of Amazon or TikTok shop packages that show up at my house, I was definitely hitting the wrong demographic. And now we're doing it in 4 languages, and we're expanding massively. Just secured a deal for the Grand Caymans yesterday, and Costa Rica, Panama, Mexico, full distribution, Canada. And now I'm traveling internationally pretty much nonstop presenting it. And it's been an absolute blast.
All right. So you have several businesses going on, right? Mm-hmm. You have the franchise system. Maybe there's some of the stores you own, but right.
One left, the original.
One left, corporate, and then the rest of them are franchisees. So you manage that system. You have the, what was the second thing that you did?
The Iron-Headed gyms.
No, this nutraceuticals, wasn't that second?
Yeah, nutraceutical. Yeah. Okay, the same time.
That online business you have, and then you have the gyms. You have like 3 locations, you said?
Yep.
And you have, and I guess you also said you have a consulting business, I guess, because you coach some athletes.
I coach athletes, and then I do a lot of business speaking, business coaching, keynote speaking, which is half my job through the year. I probably do 30 or 40 of them.
And then you got the popcorn business, right?
Yep.
Okay. So you have a portfolio of these companies. So I'm always curious, right? Because you're a high energy guy. Obviously, you're doing a lot of stuff, right? You don't need to sleep much, but you got to sleep a little bit. Are you the kind of person that built the first company, to a certain extent, and then said, okay, I'm bringing in a guy, and now he runs it for you and reports to you or whatever, and then you went on to the next project? Are you the kind of person? I'm not saying one's good or bad or whatever. Are you the kind of person that has all these things going on at the same time and are managing them all yourself with support? What does that look like?
It's kind of twofold. It's been a transition, really. I mean, for me, at the first, it was just me running everything. I'm kind of a control freak, not in a good way.
Control freak is not a good term for anybody.
No, it's detrimental to your health, to be honest with you. But I did make a shift years ago that made a lot of sense, and it's a little bit different than most. So I wanted to be what I needed at that age. That expression always just got to me, and I didn't have a rich family. I built all these off the sweat of my own back. There's no family money. There's no co-signers. It's just me figuring it out. Straight bootstraps. I mean, at one point, 19, I was homeless sleeping in my car when I was 19 for 6 months. So
which company was that?
I started when I was 19. I started my first business, which was Poor College Kids Lawn Service. I had the choice of paying rent or buying a lawnmower and starting an LLC. I chose the lawnmower and LLC, slept in my car, made it work. I was broke. And to get to where I'm at now, so what I did was I look at employment differently than most people do at my stage. I don't like employees. I'm going to say that loud for everybody. I don't like employees. I like business partners. I want somebody who's in the fire with me. So what I do when I look at employment is that's a long-term job interview for a future business partner. I get to see what you're worth when the check is guaranteed. I get to see that talent. I get to put you in different positions throughout the different companies and see where you're at. And if you find somebody worth their salt, you find that guy or that gal who was you at a younger age, you find a way to lock them down. You lock down that talent. So all these stores that I did own, I owned 13 of them. I sold them to my staff, the guys who helped me build them. And
because
now
you
I've got
said, okay, is Mitch a guy that I could be in business with? And that was part of your evaluation.
That's it. And then now I've got a franchisee locked in for 20 or 30 years that got taught by me, does it my way, who knows the business. And the gyms are business partners on the gyms. That's a former employee who wanted to jump in the fire with us and do this crazy thing. And
so you're not going and turning the lights on in the gym and unlocking the doors at 4:30 in the morning. You have people that do that.
I have other people. I have other partners that are jumping in. We're doing things. And so everyone is in this progression of, all right, I'm going to do this job really good for Tim. And then when the next crazy idea happens, I got my foot in the door to be a partner on something new. So now I have all these employees fighting to be the next opportunity. Because I'm probably never going to stop. I mean, let's be real. I'm not the retiring type. I'm just going to keep starting new stuff. But now I've got people. It's like my GM of our gyms is now moving into the new chief operations officer for the Rexius stores. As the popcorn's taking more of my time, I need somebody else who can do the liaisons with the franchises. And his name's Steve. Now, Steve's the greatest human being ever. But people don't realize that Steve's a tenured professor, a master's in chemistry. He was my kid's chemistry teacher at the high school here when half of my kids were in high school.
Maybe you're getting your calendaring from one software and you're invoicing from another. Evenoo is a platform that we use as one of our sponsors to run our entire business. And there's other features like auto payments and integrations with QuickBooks. Visit evenoo.com, EVONUE.com to learn more. There's also a link in the show notes. And be sure to tell them that the Accidental Entrepreneur referred you. This podcast is brought to you by our affiliate sponsor, iEmployee. iEmployee is a virtual assistant service that hires almost anyone for any role in your company right out of the Philippines. Most roles range from $7 to $9 an hour for highly skilled and experienced VAs. And whether you need an executive assistant, social media manager, video editor, customer service, sales, you name it, they have it. We use iEmployee for our VA services, from editing and promoting the podcast to all the PR and promotion of our law firm. iEmployee acts as a virtual field supervisor on the back end with live video monitoring and reports on a daily basis with screenshots of your VA's workday, and along with complete HR and payroll duties. No more paying for overpriced and underqualified workers. There's a link in the show notes to get a 1-week free trial, and I encourage you to take advantage of it.
And he started working for me part-time in the summers because he wanted a discount. And finally, I'm like, you're too talented to be just teaching. And it was, like, you're a great teacher. I said, but if you ever get sick of that and you want to try something new. And so the next year he left teaching after being a tenured professor and jack of all trades. And he jumps into each company. And so now he's a shareholder in the popcorn. He earned a profits interest share, which is going to be worth probably a couple $1 million. Yeah. If I do my job correctly. And so I've got all these great people is the best assets I have, trying to be in position for the next crazy idea. They always say the next crazy idea that Rexius has, I want to have my foot in the door. Yeah. And so now it's an amazing thing for me is that I have to be able to raise all these people up into this position. And once they take over, I don't have to do anything because they've already been working with me for a couple
that's because then it frees you up to think of the next idea or to work on.
Well, and that's things, right? Well, that's part of the popcorn company is we brought on some investors that wanted to invest and now it's global so fast.
That was to grow it. So you already figured out the stuff your wife and daughter are working on, and then these guys came in to add fuel to the fire, so to speak.
With they're like, I can't believe you're selling in 14 countries and you've never done any marketing. I'm like, I'm really good at relationships. I'm good at, cultivating those and getting it places and selling it. But marketing is
definitely all online, right? You're not in stores in those countries.
Oh no, I'm in stores.
Oh,
I'm
you are?
physically there. Oh yeah.
You literally went to stores and said, "Hey, we like to get this on yourself."
I've been around the health industry for so many decades. I'm kind of known, and I've got brokers that work with me. Like, hey, I know this guy in the UK. Let's hop on a Zoom. And that's the greatest thing about like what we're doing here with podcasting. It's allowing me to take that face to face on a global scale with
you don't have to get on a plane and go over to London and find out if it's a fit or not. You can do it.
Well, yeah, but I flew to Dubai, and I got to meet a good chunk of the UAE grocery chains, and that was my chance to get it in the UAE. So now we're producing the bags in Arabic, but that was awesome, and I got to meet probably 25 different store chains over a week, and I know that I'm good at selling, and I'll make a relationship quick, and then I keep that relationship. And, but we're physically in stores in Belgium, in the UK. We're about 6,000 retailers in Canada. We're not online. I mean, online was the last thing I ever actually pushed. This is physically being sold. But I also understood it wasn't just the popcorn snack. It wasn't just this bag, right?
Yeah.
I understand the industry. And what you'll know, and this is an insight for a lot of people listening to the show, when you look at a protein bar at a gas station or nutrition store or the grocery store, understand in that store, the retailer makes the least amount of money of any item in that store on that protein bar. The margins stink.
Yeah, they're terrible.
And then the distributor who's selling it to him, he also doesn't make anything. And because there's very short product life cycles when it comes to protein snacks, and there's a very small demographic that will eat them, 5 to 10% of the population.
Right.
And so me being a retailer and being a distributor as well, I knew that if I made the retailer a lot of money and the distributor a lot of money, they're going to want to push this. And so it's kind of reverse engineering the system, whereas most protein snacks spend all their money on marketing, which forces the distributor and the retailer to carry it. But the second it falls off popularity, that distributor and that retailer wants to ditch it. Not me. I've got 20,000 little, salesmen out there pushing this because they make more money on it. And so I didn't have to do marketing. And so I brought in the investors just because you're talking about marketing in 14 countries. That's quite a hefty lump sum of cash, but for us to get this into position for acquisition in the next couple of years, it's a necessity. So
yeah, that's your exit strategy. Well, you have investors now, so they want an exit strategy.
Oh, right? They want an exit strategy, absolutely.
Be in this thing forever. Have you raised money for any of the other businesses, or they were all
just me?
Just it's all cash flow and moving along.
Well, my last name's Rexius, and so my business partners, former employees, used to call me the Bank of Rex America because I would figure out a way to make it happen and talk people into it. And so, you took one business and then, I multiplied it and used that to make a horizontal move and diversify my portfolio between retail sales, direct to consumer, wholesale distribution, membership type. And, especially between COVID and, the economy post-COVID, it was nice having different different income styles because discretionary spending, especially in 23 and 24, hit an all-time low, especially in the health field. And so you saw retail and direct to consumer really suffer, but membership businesses stayed the same. So it was nice for that stability.
Yeah, exactly. No, so it makes sense. So how many, you looked over your whole enterprise, how many employees, let's use the word employees. I know what you mean by partners, but how many people you have working under the umbrella? Underneath all of them, probably just around 200. And are they all over the place? Or you have a location?
I mean, they're all over the place. If you look at, that includes franchises and their employees. My wife helps a lot. Most of the franchises do their accounting and bookwork and keeping. And obviously we coach them on every aspect. If you include all, so we're from Tempe, Arizona to Minneapolis to Denver to, over in Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, different cities.
Midwest.
Inside just the corporation, we really operate pretty lean. Just underneath the different corporate umbrella, probably about 20 that are here all day, all the time. And we give everyone different assets and different. I mean, it's like my assistant Alejandra. She's on maternity leave as of last week, but she started out right after high school working in the gym as a desk clerk. And then moved up the ladder and did some different stuff for us. Ended up being the nanny for our youngest child for about 3 years. Okay. And then she left to go work at a bank after we put him in school. And then when I put up an ad for a new assistant, she was waiting at my house. And she's like, "You're hiring me." Sounds good. Okay. That's the kind of attitude I want. And now she's a shareholder. Now she's a profit center shareholder in the popcorn company as well. And I love the journey of this where people get to build into the companies and find what they're great at. And then if we get to be part of that, it's just fun. Honestly.
Everyone gets rewarded. Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say are, a couple of your biggest challenges that you've had? And you can give me the specific business, but you already mentioned one, which was you branded and marketed the product wrong. On the popcorn side was wrong. So maybe you can give me some other examples of other businesses where you had challenges you overcame.
I am great at hiring people, but I suck at firing them. I hire people instantly because I understand they don't need to always meet my exact. I mean, I'm older. I'm hiring people that are younger, and I'm not going to understand 25-year-olds. I don't even understand my own 25-year-old.
Right.
But it's like, okay, like I look at people as a networking opportunity, right? Everyone's got their own network. So I look at everyone has value. And so I'm very quick to hire people, and I know I should fire them. I just suck at it. I always take the blame on myself where I'm like, okay, did I not put them in the right position to be successful? Did I not give enough leadership? Maybe I should micromanage, even though I hate that term. And there are times my wife in her brilliance is like, no, homeboy's got to go, that's probably my biggest challenge is letting people go when they need to go. And that's probably my biggest weakness.
You don't have somebody who handles all of the employee stuff.
My wife and I do. My wife and I do all that. Yeah. In the end of the day, it's we don't really have HR per se. We do, but we don't. Everybody goes through my wife.
Then you wouldn't have that problem.
Yeah. So, but
you got to get rid of them.
That's been a huge challenge. And then, there's a lot of challenge the last couple of years when you realize what you think is in your control, but isn't. Mm-hmm. COVID taught us a lot of things in that aspect where, I'm great at selling different brands in my stores, but if all of a sudden it's stuck at the Port of Miami for 6 weeks and melts,
that's a bit of a problem.
Mm-hmm. So then I realized, okay, my own brand, which I had been selling, I need to make that more of a forefront in our own stores. And so challenges was like, okay, how do I get materials in a shutdown economy? And a lot of those things, it's like how unprepared I was for how reliant I was on the system as it is.
I think a lot of us just took global supply chains for granted, right?
Oh yeah, we did big time, realizing that it's an 18-month cycle, and the commodities in the industry, like where they're all made and where they're not made, and figuring all that out. What kind of money does it take to be on that end of that spectrum? And it's at the popcorn still to this day. I mean, way isolated protein, which is the highest grade in the world. That commodity is in rare supply right now. It's the highest price it's ever been in history. It's just gone up and up since COVID. But that's a game I have to play when I'm negotiating with Circle K, which is the second largest chain in the world. And they want XYZ number of bags for a year contract. I've got to estimate and figure it out. And if I screw that up, that's on me. So
it's your risk.
And it's just, at the end of the day, it's just educated guessing. I mean, that's really what it is.
I assume the popcorn is co-packed, right? You don't have a factory that you built that's making popcorn.
No, I was going to, but my wife turned that idea down. And when I signed up,
you were going to do it. You were going to say, we're going to make this ourselves.
I was going to do it. So I signed up. I signed up for commercial popcorn making school.
And there's such a thing?
Oh, there's two of them. And I signed up for both. And the guy calls me. This is back in 2018 when I finally figured out the formula. And he goes, hey, I know who you are. I heard you give a speech at XYZ University that I spoke at. And then, I had a syndicated podcast myself for a while.
This the guy at the popcorn school?
Yeah, he called me. He knew who I was. He knew my name. He goes, what in the hell are you doing making popcorn? I said, I could tell you, but I'd have to kill you. He goes, I'll sign whatever. I go, well, good thing my brother's an attorney. He sent him the biggest memorandum of understanding and NDA you've ever seen.
Yeah, okay.
Told him the idea. He goes, oh, man. He goes, we're third generation popcorn family. He goes, I haven't seen anything new in decades. I would love to partner with this on you. And now that guy sits on my board of directors.
That's fine. But he also said, don't make the popcorn yourself.
Yeah, he goes, let me do this. He goes, you don't want to get into this? I'm like, I think I do. He goes, no, you don't. I said, okay. And you got a fourth generation popcorn family, been doing it since the 30s. I mean, and now we've got the experience. And he understands my anal retentive nature about how pure it needs to be. And I'm a very loyal person, so I will stick with him until the day he says he didn't want to do it. But he's also a shareholder now too. So he has a vested interest in making sure that this gets through to fruition where we need it to go.
He's the one who oversees the co-packing side of it?
Yep.
So they got to make sure that the co-packer is sourcing the proper protein that you want, right? And
I source the ingredients. I get it to him.
So the co-packer doesn't have anything to do. It's your job to get it on his doorstep.
I get it. I get the protein there, the special kind of bags we use, the specialty pallet ready boxes, like literally everything. My staff,
we do. Except he makes the popcorn.
So he makes popcorn, he bags it.
So he uses your formula, and then you have to test it, make sure that it's correct.
Yep.
And then he makes the different flavors, and then he bags your stuff, but you're getting them everything. They ship too, though, right? They're the shippers. That's the warehousing.
They'll ship it right off the dock. We negotiate all the shipping and pick up and everything for them. That way, depending on which country I'm going to, there's different, if I'm shipping to port or if I'm X-Works pricing where somebody's picking it off the dock. Every country is slightly different depending on how big it is. The U.S., it's going to different distributors. So I negotiate all that freight ahead of time with my director of logistics, making sure that we're finding the best price, best timing, depending on where it's going.
Logistics is all business. I mean, freight forwarding and figuring that part out, and there's risk there. And right? There's price risk, product risk, the whole thing. Yeah.
Well, and then we're like how we pack a pallet, it's different when you're packing a pallet that's going from, Chicago to Miami. That's one thing, but packing a pallet that's going Chicago to Jamaica, New York on a 40-foot container going to the UK, that's different.
Yeah.
And then obviously, like I've learned so much the last couple of years, like, okay, if I'm going to Jamaica, New York, for instance, understand that my freight's going to cost me 50% more just for going through New Jersey or New York.
Right.
Immediately, just because of tolls. Just tolls. Tolls will double the price of everything you ship. So I try to bribe my international accounts any chance you can do it in Miami, because it'll save us $2,000 in freight, and I'll split the difference. I'll give you an extra $1,000 off, and so you save $1,000, I save $1,000. And that's, nothing against Jamaica, New York, but it's just really
New York is a costly place to do business.
It is, and neither here nor there. But and so just learning all those things, it really is. It's all the unexpected, the unknowns that really have been the biggest challenge the last 2 years, because we grew so fast. It's you don't know what you don't know until you don't know it. And the good thing is that I've been really good at making friends in different industries the last 20 years, and I've always told people it's amazing if you just go and ask a question like, hey, I'd love to buy you coffee sometime. I want to pick your brain on this. Yeah, and people will just help you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, people love to help. They love to share their ideas. They love to feel like they're helping you.
Oh, respected for their expertise, and that's just it. And for me, I've never done any of these companies with ego. I mean, if an 18-year-old's got a better idea, I want to hear it. Yeah. So, because we all get rich then. So that's the best thing. Who comes with the best idea?
You do it because you are very high energy and very driven. Yeah.
And then that's, my wife, she's very driven as well, but not like for me, like the whole deal now with, you brought up having all the companies and the 6 kids, and it's crazy. And I'm a grandpa recently. Wow. So, and it's like, okay, I do like 2.5 day trips. My wife and I go like, hey, we're leave on a Thursday night and back by Sunday. I don't miss anything. It's too much stuff. Cause as an owner, like nobody does my job. It just compiles. And so they're finding the nice thing. My wife's like, I would love to take a week-long vacation. I'm like, well, I'd love to win the Powerball, but shit doesn't happen that way. But finally, okay, well, this is something she needs. It's like, okay, let's plan this out in advance, and we'll do those things. And I'm doing a show. Well, I'm doing a show in Playa del Carmen, Mexico in December. And my wife's like, hey, this would be a great chance to bring all the kids. And we try to get the whole family involved in every aspect of the business. And so we'll be down there for 5 days, and I'm working for 2.5 of the 5 days. But I got 11 flights I'm booking. And my daughter, my youngest daughter is 18, and she goes, Dad, I kind of feel bad because you're going to be working the whole time. I'm like, you really don't understand dads, do you? She's like, what? I go, understand it's not vacation for me. When you kids are with us, it's a trip for us. It's a vacation for you.
Right. It's a relocation for you.
Yeah. I go, you kids spend so much money. If there's a chance that when I'm working for 2.5 days that I might leave this thing break even, it might be the greatest vacation of my life. So she's like, oh, so you're happy about this? I go, yeah. The chance what you guys are spending, I get to make. This is beautiful. Yeah. So, and that's just, we involve them on every aspect of the companies. And half my kids work inside the businesses now, and they start at the bottom too. They start at the retail clerk or the shipping warehouse, and they can work their way up if they want to. And there's no guarantees just because we share the last name. You have to earn it. So.
Yeah. Wow. So you have 6 kids. How old's your oldest?
25.
Yeah, my oldest is 25 too. So how old are you? So a lot of the kids are not in the business. They're too young, right?
25, 20, 18. I was 25, 20, 19, 18, 13, and 6. So the 2 youngest ones are not in the business. The 3 youngest ones, because they're all still in school, but the 3 olders are all in the business. My son-in-law is in the business now too. helping with marketing. My oldest daughter does a lot of label design. Zoe, my middle daughter, is now taking over as my secondary executive assistant. And then her boyfriend is working in the retail stores and helping doing some brokering. My oldest son is in the warehouse, learning how that trade goes for logistics. And so then, it's just down the list. Everyone gets involved. And we have family meetings once a quarter with everybody. We let them know what we're doing, what the craziness that I'm doing next, what the plan is, and why we're doing it. And so they all kind of buy into the system. And we have 7 calendars. Literally, and the kids get to see everywhere I'm going, when I'm doing it, and why I'm doing it, and that way they know
family enterprise that way.
Well, it is when that way they know, like, hey, they know if there's something important, they put it in the calendar. Like, my daughter's got a show choir thing, like 2 weeks on a Saturday. She goes, "Can you be there?" I go, "I will be there." Put it in the calendar. I'm locking it down. And for them, it means they know how much it means more to them, knowing how busy I am, that I'm going to make everything's canceled when I'm at show choir. As much as I don't understand half of what's going on, I am there. And, I'm a sports guy, so my wife's told me I can't get up and yell and say, do things. But hey, I'm there, whatever it might be. And it's important, and
but you have a lot to manage. So they got to program that in. And if it's programmed in, you will be at the program. And
I will be there.
Yeah,
it's locked down, and they know that, and it's date nights. It's no different than with my spouse. You got to make purposeful intent, so it's got to
make reservations, get it set up, buy your tickets, and whatever.
And then, like I've said to another buddy of mine is an entrepreneur. He's like, "Well, my wife was mad because she planned the date." And I'm like, "Bro, like you got to plan the date." He's like, "Well, I'm busy." No, you're not. Like you go plan it. I go, even if it's you got to go do it. It's
you got to show her that you
intentional effort.
Right.
Intentional effort, Yeah.
Go buy the tickets, get the thing, ask her some questions, bring some flowers with you.
Oh, no, you'll do even better. I'll set her dress out.
Goes far.
This is what you're wearing tonight. I'm picking you up at 7. Oh, yeah.
When my wife and I got engaged, I was taking her in the city. So the whole night planned, and, I was all nervous. And I remember I packed a bag for her. Tim, I don't remember what I packed, but it definitely wasn't right. She had all the wrong fucking clothes. She didn't know we were staying over the city. We go in the city. I had like this big wool coat because that's where I was hiding like the ring. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And it was like literally like January 3rd, the hottest January on record. My wife's like, my girlfriend at the time was like, "Why are you wearing a wool coat?" Well, and she's from Florida. I said, the weather can turn at any minute in New York. You don't know it's January. So I made it up, and I just could. So I do not. I'll take my wife for her birthday. We'll spend the day together, take her shopping or whatever. I cannot buy her stuff. My girls will do that, but I don't do it.
Well, when I buy her stuff or I plan out something or her outfit, understand I'm cheating. I'm asking my oldest daughters. I'll put them on a group text or a FaceTime. I'm like, "Does this fit, Mom?" Like, God forbid I put something out that doesn't, because I ain't doing that. And like, I'm going to buy her. I bought her some red bottom shoes. I didn't know that was a thing. Apparently, it's a big deal. And so my daughter, like, "What size do I buy?" She goes, "You know what size shoes she wears?" I go, "I don't know what size shoe I wear. So no, I don't know what size she wears." Yeah. And I cheat. The best thing about having daughters.
Right.
Oh yeah. I want to make sure I get it. I want to make sure I get it right.
That's the worst if you get it wrong.
Oh yeah. Then
makes you think that I'm a large? You're like,
exactly.
Yeah. Right.
Exactly. And that's so I ask, and it's but it's just that purposeful intent. Even if it's something little, it's now that my wife came back into working in the companies full time. She was the CFO for a major packaging company, and she still helps them, but she's back in here a couple, like 4 days a week, and it's the whole, like, well, when she was at her job, I would send flowers. I do that all the time. And she made a comment. She goes, "Now that I'm in the office all the time, the flowers don't stop just because you're in the same office." Right. I'm aware. Yes, ma'am. I got you. She likes it. And yes, ma'am. No worries. And it's like my kids all say, like, nobody's scared of me. They are scared of my wife, though.
Right. Mine's the same way. So I don't know if I'm as high energy as you are, though. I mean, I balance a lot of stuff. I got a lot of things going on. I guess I'm managing businesses for clients, too.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know if I can. How old are you, Tim?
44, be 45 here in a month.
Oh, so you started earlier than me. So I'm almost 60. My one's 25. I'll be 59 in December.
Nice. You don't look 59.
So yeah. All right, well, I'll come back in 10 years. We'll see if you feel the same way. The next 10 years. Take care.
Well, Brittany. So my oldest is my adopted daughter. Brittany had her in high school, and then we met, and I adopted her. And that was probably the coolest thing. This, as a father outside of business, right? Especially when you're an entrepreneur, because you're gone a lot. You're pushing the envelope. You don't have the 9 to 5. you always wonder, I'm like, okay, did I do right by my kids? Am I giving them enough time? There really isn't such thing as work-life balance as an entrepreneur. It doesn't exist. And you're always curious.
It's all one thing.
But, this last year, my grandson was born in January, so about 9 months ago. And apparently everybody, I didn't know this, but they named him after me.
Oh, nice.
And talk about one of those times where you're like, wow, maybe I really didn't screw. Maybe I really did what I was hoping I would do as a father, as an entrepreneur, and that was probably one of the coolest things ever.
They say that the only thing in life that's not overrated is being a grandparent. So.
Oh, it's
my dad.
All the fun, none of the responsibility. This is
right. Awesome. That's why it's not overrated. Right. Exactly.
Oh, it's so great. Now I totally get it. You just don't get it till it happens, and you're
like, being a parent's great, but there's a lot of responsibilities that go with it.
Oh yeah, well, it was like because my grandson they live in Phoenix, and so we're in Nebraska, obviously, and apparently the only way to get him to calm down in the car is my daughter plays videos of my podcast because he'll just start laughing.
Nice.
And my wife goes, "Oh, this is going to go to your head." I go, "I'm going to tell everybody. Of course, it's going to my head. I'm getting T-shirts made and bumper stickers.
That is hysterical.
So Papa's the favorite, But yeah,
nice. So let's talk about what's ahead because I know you don't sleep at night. You probably make lists on your bedside, and
I do.
Right. So yeah. So what's coming? What's next? Like what's going on?
With the popcorn is
that
just
you can talk about.
Now the popcorn's just we've launched into convenience stores, which is the biggest sales channel in the world. The data has been amazing, so now we're launching into all the distributors. So it's about to get really, really crazy, and so now it's about getting into certain niches and certain chains, and especially in the United States, it's lack of a better term, it's a pain. Especially in grocery.
Profitability there when you're going into retail.
The profitability is there for everybody. And now that we're going to scale, that's where I make my money really. And now the bigger and bigger we get, the more and more I make, because at first I didn't. I knew I wanted to take care of retailers and wholesale and distribution first.
Right.
Because then I didn't need to market at the time because they were going to do it for me, which is really working out well. But
whatever, right.
Oh yeah. And so now it's about certain retailers. And in grocery, especially in the United States, it's just different. There's 60 employees in a row that want their butt kissed in perpetuation, or they want you to pay some massive, listing fee to be on. And you just don't get that in other countries, which is why I went international first. So now it's funny. I'll grab this. This is what happens when we start testing new things. This is the new spicy dill pickle flavor.
Dill pickle has become very popular with chips, popcorn.
Well, this
not a bad flavor. I like it.
Well, it's not my bag. This is actually really good, but my daughter's 18, my youngest, and her and all the girls were eating all this dill pickle stuff. And then my son's 13 on the baseball team, and every kid in the dugout had spicy dill pickle sunflower seeds.
They're like savory. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, it looks like I'm making that. And so we're co-branding with some other big brands who are already in some of these retailers as a collaboration. So that one's Lola's Hot Sauce. Lola's Hot Sauce is in every Walmart in North America. He's actually from Des Moines, a hop, skip, and a jumping away from me, and met him on the flight to Dubai a couple of years ago. This is where Making Friends is huge, and great owner. And so I'm like, hey, let's do some collaboration, because I'm more international than they are. And then he's more domestic than I am. So it helps both companies. And so now it's reaching out to some of these companies to create some unique flavors depending on the locality, like Canada, for instance. I love my Canadian distributor. These are the nicest people on the planet.
Yeah, no,
really, Canadians are the best.
The nicest.
They are the sweetest.
We're doing to them, and they're like the nicest people.
They are. And one of my investors is Canadian. So now technically I'm part Canadian owned. But
there you go.
So did you know the number one selling potato chip in Canada is ketchup flavored chips?
I was just going to say this to you. I do not like ketchup flavored chips. I like ketchup, and I like ketchup on like French fries. So are you making a ketchup flavored popcorn?
I'm trying to. I don't know.
It is obviously.
I don't even know. I'm not going to sell it in the US.
Think it's popular, right? Because if you go to the chip aisle in the supermarket, you see a lot of ketchup flavors, which I thought was more like from like the Far East than it was.
Well, I remember when they brought it up, I go, that is disgusting. They go, disgusting. Okay. They go, okay, Americans obsessed with ranch. I go, I'm not obsessed. I recognize greatness. There's a difference. But it is the number one selling chip, and they've been on me. So I was reaching out to Frito-Lay, and I realized that Frito-Lay, I believe, is owned by PepsiCo. And they're like, hey, I tried making our own. It was horrible, but the Frito-Lay, the Lay's ketchup flavored chip is supposed to be the best one out there. And I'm like, hey, So now it's like, okay, how do you get to that big wig ladder? Being like, hey, I'd love to do a co-brand. I mean, you already had the flavoring. I'd love to see what that looks like. And now it's like getting through those layers of those tedious amount of power that some of these people in these positions hold, and they want to feel very special. So in the U.S., it's always delayed by middle managers.
Right.
Middle managers. It's always middle managers that are always delaying stuff. And so now it's like doing these co-brands with different things, which is fun. And then, you're getting different flavors. Is that what I'm
going to be watching for, a ketchup flavored popcorn?
I don't know if I'll launch it in the U.S., brother. I think I'm just going to keep it for Canada, just for them.
It doesn't sound appetizing to me.
But, it's like,
definitely.
Well, I was talking to the Grand Caymans yesterday, and we're about to do a deal in the Cayman Islands. And I showed him the spicy dill pickle. He goes, "Oh, that'll kill here." Oh, really?
They like spicy foods down there. That's why.
He's from Ireland, but he's in the Grand Caymans. He goes, "Are you going to get this in Ireland too?" I said, "Well, I just launched in Ireland." And he goes, "And you're getting all the." And so our spicy nacho cheddar, I thought was, people here say it's too spicy, but I sent it to Qatar and Saudi Arabia, and they go, "This isn't spice. This is barely."
They got some serious spice.
So now I'm working on a ghost pepper white cheddar. I'm like, don't challenge me. Yeah, why not? So that's been the fun thing. And then for me, it's just been a lot of, guest speaking and podcasting and stuff, trying to get the word out there. And that for me is just fun. I just enjoy that. And my wife basically said, she goes, "We sell this company." And my kids asked, "What's your retirement look like?" I go,
"Retirement."
Eventually, when I let the kids take over some things, right? And I go, public speaking. I love it. No matter how big the crowd is, how small it is, I love it. I just did a speech in front of 1,200 kids at a local high school last week, and I get more ramped up and amped up after those things than anything.
Sure.
You remember what it's like to be. Well, you remember what it's like to be that age, and just needed the real advice, not the BS you were told. And I like to be that guy. And for me, that's just fun. So
that's not really retirement. That's a shift in what you're doing.
Yeah,
right. Because you're still in a for-profit environment.
My grandfather passed away about 2 years ago, and at 89 years old, what people don't realize is he was still a practicing physician. He was. He practiced medicine.
In their 80s are still practicing lawyers.
66 years in medicine, I think is what it was. And I go, "Well, you didn't retire?" He goes, "Why would I retire? I enjoy what I do."
Yeah, if you enjoy what you do, right?
Right there, that's it. I love every aspect of this. Like I tell the kids and my kids and the kids in the high schools and my employees, I call kids, I said, when you get to the point where when you're not looking forward to Monday morning, it's time for a career change.
Yeah.
Because right now I want to be
by choice, right?
I want to be here. I want to be the first one here on Monday. I don't, I'm not looking as a way to avoid it. I'm not regretting Monday coming. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. And my staff has this competition. Who's going to get here before me? Nobody, but they try. And I think it's cute, but it's awesome that I'm cultivating that kind of environment around me with people that want to work. I mean, it's an opportunity to work. If you don't want to work, there's a million ways to make $1 million. If you don't like the one you're on, pick a new one and go. Like,
that's true.
That's just how I look at it.
The brave people make the change. The people that feel they're too invested and they've spent too much time and money doing this and that, and they don't change, and they're just going to be more miserable.
Oh, yeah, and that's just it. More money is General Colin Powell said this. More money is wasted by indecision than wrong decisions. So you just got to make decisions. And sitting around hoping things get better or not making a change doesn't do anything.
Right. So when you're speaking to younger people or coaching or whatever, what is the advice you give to people getting started in business?
The biggest thing I say to everyone, the very first thing is have a real honest audit of yourself. What are you good at and what aren't you good at?
Right.
And that's the thing is that sometimes in business, egos can take over. Hoping that you would be good at speaking doesn't make you good at speaking.
Right.
So if you got a great idea for a retail business, but you suck at people skills, cool. Be the man, be the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain, and let somebody else go be the face.
Bring them in as a partner, like you said, whatever.
Exactly. And that's the biggest thing is having an honest audit. And you get into these entrepreneurship groups and these classes, and some people want to be that guy, but just aren't that guy. And there's nothing wrong with that. And, I have a good number 2 and I have a good number 3, and they're well idealed for that. My wife is wired to be a CFO. She thinks getting out and printing off, 2,000 pages of a bank statement and having 9 highlighters and going through reconciliations is fun.
Yeah.
To me, I would rather get a root canal on a Sunday twice and then even do it. And I'm always doing it 8 months late. So it's just identifying. And I think a lot of us A lot of people just want to be something that's just not in their skill set. And once they got to own
Big
who
time.
you are, and that's the biggest mistake is I got guys that, that want to be what I do, but at least they think they do until they get in there and like, oh shit, this sucks, and it's, and that's the biggest thing. I think it's just being honest with yourself. And I know what I'm good at. I know what I suck at. Everybody else asks me, why didn't you do marketing on this popcorn company before? I'm like, because I don't know what I'm doing. So I went and found the best.
Yeah.
And, and it's I trust in that, we're going to do this. I want to learn so I understand what I'm governing, but I know that I suck at it. I don't have the patience.
Successful people I've interviewed and worked with, that's exactly what it is. They want to learn what it is. They want to understand what it is, but then they find the right person to do it.
Yeah.
Because first of all, they can't do everything. And also, it's not really what they're good at. They stick with what they're good at. It doesn't have to be one thing, but you know what I mean.
And the other thing is too, and I tell them the second biggest thing I watch out is don't spend your money. And people go, what do you mean by that? I have seen more entrepreneurs who got that first taste of success and thought that they have my big month. It's going to be like this forever. And they go blow that cash on vehicles they can't afford, houses they can't keep up with.
Lifestyle.
And you see it in retail. It's real easy to see. And I see it all the time where there was this thing back in the 90s, early 2000s, and God, it makes me sound old, but in nutrition store owners, where what happens is everybody wanted a Hummer. That was the thing.
Yeah, I remember
the original muscles. Yeah, the H1s, right? The good
ones. Yeah.
And so
the Arnold Schwarzenegger Hummer.
Yeah. So they'd kill for 6 months. They buy the Hummer. And then the cyclical nature of retail sales, economies, and presidential changes happens, which always happens. And all of a sudden, sales go down a little bit. Well, they keep making the Hummer payment, but they don't restock the inventory. And all of a sudden, over 6 months, they went from having a stock store of $30 or $40 or $50,000 in inventory to $3,000 or $4,000 in inventory. That way, the perception to the public, they still got the Hummer, I'm still killing it, but there's no product left in the store to buy. They go belly up. I've seen this happen 30 or 40 times. They got the house they can't afford. Is like, live well beneath your means. Most people live well above their means.
Right.
And people don't realize, like, for years, my wife and I, we were killing it, but I'm just throwing money back into businesses. And it was before we had our youngest child, but we had 5 people living in a 3-bedroom house and double bunk beds. And she goes, can we please? I'm like, yeah, okay, fine.
Right, now that we have a large bank account. Yeah, but you can't build the pyramid upside down. That's how it falls over, right? People, and they don't realize that by buying all these things, what they're doing is they're creating costs to themselves that is not driving any kind of revenue. That's why, what's the statistic? Lotto winners all go broke within 5 years.
Yep.
Because they don't understand the concept of building a foundation and buying assets that create income or investing in businesses that create income. Instead, they go, instead of buying the apartment building and using the income to pay for the car, they go buy the car. And now they got an expense.
I always tell them this. I used to tell people this. I go, imagine that your life is a car. It's a ride. And you got to drive 60 miles this direction. And they said, okay. And that's the finish line. And they said, okay. I said, so every major purchase you make that requires a monthly installment takes a gallon of gas out of the tank.
That's a good analogy.
And I said, so now you've got the house, you've got 2 cars, you've got this membership, you got this, and all of a sudden now you have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 less gallons. You still have to make the 60-mile drive. So what are you going to do? You're going to turn it off so you can coast a little while on neutral. They go, It's going to take a long time, and it prevents you from doing things. It keeps you in, I always say that debt is the new indentured servitude. That's how they keep you locked down and keep you immobile and keep you, applying the status quo, the company line. You're not going to fight the system because you're in so much debt. And you have to keep the house and the car payments and all these things that you're not going to make that move. You're not going to say what needs to be said because of fear of retribution, that you won't be able to meet your financial obligations. Yep. And so I lived very well beneath my means for a very long time. And my wife, and that's the best thing about my wife, she goes, hey, bro, we're not broke. She goes, you look homeless. Let's get some clothes. Okay.
Right.
Because
but she wasn't the kind of person that wanted that early on. A lot of these people fall into the trap of, between the two of them.
She made it very clear. She goes, I'll live with you in a van down by the river. I said, sounds good. And so now if I ever complain, if she's spending too much money, she's like, hold up, Buster, you created this monster. I said, that is fair. Yeah, I did. And, but that was my reward to her for sticking with me while I was doing crazy. And she was with me right in the crazy boat. We did some insane stuff and it's our kids. We explain to our kids, like, yeah, every Christmas present you got and birthday present you got when you were little was off Craigslist or Marketplace. And we were repairing them and fixing them. And you had no idea your bikes were used. They didn't know. And now it's a challenge that we do have money, and I've got younger ones, and not spoiling them rotten now that I have the ability to
have the means, right?
But so far, all of the first 4 that all got licenses all got equal opportunity pieces of junk that were barely movable because they all got in a wreck in the first week, anyways. So
when we were young, we didn't have a car at all. I had to use my parents' car.
We had to share
my parents' car on the weekend if
Oh, I had that killer station wagon, brother. Oh yeah,
we had the Ford Country Squire. Remember those things? With the big sticker on the side made it look like wood.
I think the other one I had was the
seats in the back.
The Ford Windstar minivan. That was
there you go.
Oh, so great for a date in high school, bro. It was awesome. Yeah.
Right.
So
exactly, pull up to her house.
Like check out that there is a minivan. That is a awesome ride with the 2-tone wood paneling that's falling off, and so I'm not getting my kids anything nicer than I got. It's not happening.
No, well, they can earn it themselves, right? So
exactly.
Anything, are you all self-taught, or did you go to college?
I went to college.
You didn't get your MBA or your business degree, nothing. It's all self-taught, right?
Well, yeah, everything I do is self-taught. I got my degrees, but I went to college to play football and to party. And got my shot at the NFL. I got hurt in my first 2 months. Shattered my shoulder, and that was the end of the NFL dreams. And I don't use probably. I say this honestly, the high school kids. I use maybe 1% of what I learned in college. Everything else is on the job. It's and the beautiful thing is, I explain to entrepreneurs now. I'm like, you have YouTube. Like, you have YouTube University. You can find out so much anything. Stuff out there. Chat GPT. You can do all sorts of stuff if you have the determination to go learn it. I always laugh because I failed accounting 1 at Wayne State College 3 times, and now I do accounting every day. So, but as soon as you put your $ and your widget behind the numbers, it makes sense,
right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
definitely. It's your numbers; they have meaning to you. You know how it fits into your business. You want to make it work. So
exactly.
All right. So I do have one question though. I'm in the Northeast, so I can buy it online, but is it in stores here?
It is very quickly expanding in. We just made deals with 3 different gas station chains.
Okay.
Over the next 60 days, we'll be launching into about 1,000 new retailers in the Northeast specifically. And we hope by the end of Q2, we'll be in about 20,000 gas stations in the upper Northeast. Omaha Protein Popcorn. We launched in Walmart in Canada. It went very, very well. So I'm hoping that we get a Walmart launch here in the United States relatively soon. My goal is by the end of 26 to be in every major retailer possible. So,
all right. Well, people should watch out. I can say that you sent me a very nice sample pack. So good stuff, really good stuff, actually. And I did leave some of it out from my office, and I told you before it disappeared. Really good stuff. I wish you the best of luck. You got a lot of stuff going on, and I thank you for coming and sharing your story. Very helpful for people listening. And enjoy the rest of whatever's left of the weekend. Get started.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's incredibly honored, and I really appreciate it. And thank you for taking the time. It means a lot to us.
I appreciate it, Tim.
You bet.
In addition to being a podcast host, I'm also a small business attorney, mostly providing legal services in New York and New Jersey. With over 3 decades of experience, we can handle most transactional issues. So if you're watching the show and you encounter some sort of legal issue, reach out to us and visit our website, mindhackerlaw.com. Thanks for tuning into the show and for continuing to support us.